Hello, everybody. Welcome to cricketworld.com. We are back again with our match insights video, and we've got Nikhil Narayan, my friend and colleague, with me to analyze India's defeat in the first test of the Anderson Tendulkar Trophy to England by 5 wickets. India had their opportunities, Nikhil, but missed the opportunity in the end and ended up losing the test match.
Absolutely, Chandresh. I still can't get over, as an Indian fan, that how did India lose this test match? They dominated for most of the sessions, at least on the first 4 days, and then just, let it slip at crucial moments. We'll get to the post-mortem, for India, that how did they end up losing this test, a test they should have won and certainly shouldn't have lost after being in a commanding position, on day one and also then in the second innings with the bat. But before that, Chandesh, a fantastic win for England, if I may say, one of the greatest in that Test history, their second highest successful chase ever in Test cricket. And, we all remember the highest also came against India in Edgbaston in 2022 when they chased down 378. Just a little stat here, Chandresh, that England, this baseball England team under Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum have chased down a 250 plus target 8 times since 2019. By far the most for any team. No other teams comes close. Australia have done it twice, but just the brilliance. They are not scared. They scored at a run rate of 4.5. They go for the totals. The wicket did not do much, which aided them. But just to be so daring, to be so bold, chasing down 350 plus with 5 wickets in hand in a single day's play, hats off to England.
Yeah, terrific performance in the end, winning by 5 wickets. Just to go back to the Indian performance first, they had the moments. They had Rishabh Pant scoring hundreds in both innings of the Test match. You had the skipper Shubman Gill scoring 100. You had KL Rahul scoring 100. Yashasvi Jaiswal scoring 100. And yet they ended up on the losing side. What do you put that down to?
Three reasons for me, Chandresh. Clear cut three reasons. Number one, at the top of the list for me is the dropped catches. I can't even count the number of catches they dropped from Rishabh Pant to Yashasvi Jaiswal, even Ravindra Jadeja, one of the best fielders in the world. Catches of top batsmen early in their innings, that cost India dear. I mean, I think it was the most number of catches dropped by India in a test in England in the last 2 decades. So, that tells a story in itself. For me, that was the number one reason for India losing this test match. Yes, I'll come to the second reason, which a lot of people have spoken about. The two batting collapses, the two lower order batting collapses, Chandresh, also was a significant reason. In 7 for 41, India in the first innings, they lost the last 7 wickets for 41 runs. And then in the second innings, again, the same thing happened. They lost 6 wickets for 31 runs. In effect, the lower order has contributed, 72 runs at the cost of 13 wickets. I mean, that is just not done at this level. If you give a team like England, who are as it is prolific at home, especially since they adopted baseball since 2022, if you collapse like this in both the innings with absolutely no contribution from the lower middle order, England grabbed their chances with both hands and made a comeback. So lower order batting, likes of Karun Nair, Shardul Thakur, to an extent Ravindra Jadeja and the tail, absolutely nothing from them. Unlike the England lower order, which made a significant contribution in the first innings. So these batting collapses, India has to have a relook at the lower order, and there will certainly be changes in the next test, Chandresh.
Yeah, you spoke about the batting collapses. In the first innings, India could have ended up with a total upwards of 500. They missed out on that, and then in the second innings, when the lead was all set to swell further, they missed out, and they ended up with only 370. When it clearly showed that if the score total had been about 425, 430, or even 450, England would have been a bit more watchful in their approach in the chase.
Absolutely, Chandresh. I mean, India, as Shubman Gill, stated in the post-match conference that India needed, were looking at around 430, 435, somewhere thereabout. So they were clearly 50 to 60 runs short of the target they had hoped for, and that was again courtesy a collapse in the second innings. I mean, these collapses, I mean, they just cannot happen at this level, and they cost India dearly. I mean, England's approach for a 370 was different. They went for the target. 435 maybe would have been even beyond England. Maybe they would have played more outrageous shots because the required run rate would have been more, and in the process lost wickets. So India would have had definitely had a greater chance of winning if they had put 50 more runs on the board in in the fourth innings. There's another reason, Chandesh, which we haven't discussed, and which I'll come to. I think although the second innings bowling performance was better, they tried. Clearly, Jasprit Bumrah was exhausted. Therefore, he did not get any wickets in in the second innings. But in the first innings, I think the bowling performance, barring Bumrah, was absolutely shambolic. The way the other Indian bowlers bowled in the first innings, I mean the numbers tell a story. Bumrah picked up 5 wickets and was the best bowler from both the sides, conceding just 3.3 in his almost 25 overs. But if you look at Siraj, I mean, he was bowling all over. He went for 4.5 and over, although he picked 2 wickets. Prasidh Krishna was inconsistent. He went at above 6 and over. Jadeja went at 3 and over, did not pick wickets. Shardul Thakur, he's playing as a bowling all rounder, but he bowled only 6 overs, conceding 38 runs. So there was it was Bumrah versus the England batters. There was no one else. India shouldn't have allowed England to make 465 in the first innings. We had our chances. They should have been out for 320, 330. We should have had a 150 run lead. Instead, the first innings was almost nullified. And that is where, I think India let England back into the match, Chandresh.
Yeah, and also English tail also wagged. Unlike India's tail, you had Bryden Cars and Chris Wokes adding 50 plus runs in the first innings. All those things make a huge difference. And it's been a traditional issue with India not being able to knock over the tail, while India's tail doesn't contribute with the bat in Test matches away from home. It's different at home because you have the spinners who do the job, but away from home, the spinners are not in use. Uh, but a word on Harry Brook, who played tremendously, made the most of the missed opportunities that came his way, and also Oli Pope. He also made the most of the missed opportunities that came his way, and together they ensured that the English team continued to score at breakneck speed in the first innings. Uh, uh, so that really helped England in that sense.
Absolutely. Ollie Pope, there were question mark over his place in the team. There was a lot of talk whether Jacob Bethel should take his place, the talented youngster. But Ollie Pope got that century against Zimbabwe. So therefore, he retained his place and it paid dividends. It was a very crucial 106, by Ollie Pope. And Harry Brook, we all know, he is the next great from England. He's he will go down as an England great, certainly in Test cricket. If you look at his numbers, he already averages 58, and he scored nearly 2,500 runs. And his strike rate, Chandra, his strike rate is 88. In fact, it is the highest strike rate in Test history for any batsman who scored 2,000 runs. It's slightly more than Virendra Sehwag and Adam Gilchrist also, Chandresh. So, and already 826 tests. So Harry Brook, although he didn't get a century, that 99 was as good as any 100, Chandresh. They set it up for England. Once England had reached, India's total, had almost matched India's total. Uh, Ben Stokes always knew that they could chase down any total because that is what they've done successfully. This baseball team is known for chasing 250 plus totals with relative ease in the last 4 or 5 years, and that is what they did. And in the second innings, again, that innings, of Ben Duckett, 149, 170. Yes, he took his chances. Yes, there were catches. That Yashasvi Jaiswal dropped a sitter. It cost India dearly, but still, 149, 170 in the fourth innings. That partnership of 188 for the opening wicket with Zach Crawley, one of the greatest opening partnerships in the fourth innings ever. In fact, it was the fifth highest opening partnership in the fourth innings uh, for England, and absolutely a brilliant display by Duckett and Crawley, who did not give any chance, very few chances to India. Crawley played uh, the accumulator. He held his end up while Duckett attacked from the other. It was the fifth highest opening stand in a 300 plus chase ever, and the highest since 1995. So you can imagine, how good they were. That set it up for England, and from then India were playing catch up in the fourth innings.
Also, Josh Tung, he did tremendously well, knocking over the tail in both innings. So he's a plus point for England. Bryden Cars is a plus point for England. Ben Stokes with his bowling was a plus point for England. I think Jamie Smith was a plus point for England with his bat in both innings. So I think these all things will keep adding up, and I think the only Chris Wokes didn't do well with the ball, but with the bat, he was fantastic in the first innings, which really ensured that the gap between the two sides was much lesser than what everyone expected at the start.
Absolutely. Before this test started, we did a preview, and for me, it was actually India's strength was their bowling, which I had thought. I thought Bumrah and Prasid, and along with Siraj, had were a better bowling unit than England's inexperienced bowling unit. But in this match, I think England's bowlers overall did a better job than the Indian bowlers. With the exception of Bumrah, and the batting was at the top order was at par. The difference was in the lower order, as we discussed. Their lower order contributed. Our lower order collapsed in both the innings. Going forward, it will be very difficult for India to come back from this defeat, Chandresh. This is going to hurt India big time because you don't get these opportunities, especially in the first test of a of a tour in a Sena country. India has rarely got themselves into such a position. It will be difficult for India to come back.
So you expect India to make changes in the second test match?
I actually expect two to three changes in the second test. I'll be surprised if that doesn't happen. The changes I expect Shardul Thakur, Karun Nair, and even Mohammad Siraj to be benched. Uh, I think Arshdeep Singh, Washington Sundar, and Nitish Reddy could be a part of the playing 11, or Kuldeep Yadav could come in. I think India will make three changes. Uh, I'll be surprised if they don't, because two things they need to address, Chandresh. They need to address the lower order batting, which the inclusion of Reddy and Sundar will, and they need to address their bowling. The fast bowling. I think Arshdeep Singh is needed. He brings in variety. He can do a little more with the new ball swing in. So I think Siraj looked a bit flat, although he bowled his heart out in the second inning, but it was too late. I think he would looked a bit flat in the first innings, all over the place. I think Arshdeep Singh probably is a better bet.
Yes. And what do you see with England?
I think England will go with the same 11. I mean, there's no reason for them to change their playing 11. I think they'll go with the same 11 for sure.
Yes, warning signs ahead for India, and time to celebrate for England. That's it for today from Nikhil and myself in the Match Insights video. We'll be back before the second test match. Till then, take very good care of yourselves. It's goodbye and God bless from Nikhil and myself.